Yeah, we've had a really awesome preseason. We have a really outstanding returning class on the men's side. Well, really on both sides too. Um, but they've really worked well together and they've had a lot of fun. And I think, you know, every year your team is a little bit different in terms of the team dynamic. But I feel like this year we have a really, really fun and supportive team dynamic, and that just makes your fall training and your excitement for the competition season that much greater. And so yeah, we've had a couple really great camps. We got to take advantage of a fall break opportunity this year to go do a short intensity camp in Cable on the roller ski track. We've had really great training weather. The fall was really nice and warm here, which is actually really great for, we didn't have to modify any of our team training. And then winter just like it flipped a switch this last week, which has been awesome. We got, I think, over 30 inches of snow in this past week, and the tech trails are looking awesome now. We did our first intensity session on snow yesterday, and the athletes are really excited to get the season underway this weekend with our Swedetown CCSA season opener. Yeah, so the Swedetown Trails Club, they graciously offered to host a season opener for the CCSA this year. I think it's really fun for our student athletes to get to race on some different trails and some different venues. We get to race in the tech trails a lot, and so for us to get a competitive venue at one that we don't typically race at, I think is just fun for all the athletes. But in the past, we've typically done like what we've called a UP opener, which is usually a scrimmage between us and Northern Michigan University. And we invited all the CCSA institutions this year to the Swedetown CCSA season opener. So this year, I believe we're going to have us and NMU and College of St. Scholastica. So it will be a little bit more of a respective invite, and we'll have a fun team scoring with it as well. But it'll also be just really low stakes, great opportunity for all the athletes to get in a good early season competition before then we go to the Super Tour races in Cable the following weekend, which will be, really high level national competitions. You're going to have a bunch of college programs there from across the country, all the junior programs in the Midwest, and all of our CCSA programs, as well as the pro teams competing for, things like World Cup selection. So yeah. You really strive to, as a program, try to get stronger and stronger each year and set different goals that are stronger than the seasons past, right? Or your previous ones. Because I think when you can continue to have that growth as a team, then you realize that you can continue to achieve more and more and greater accomplishments. And I think one thing that I guess I take pride in the first and foremost is the fact that our team is consistently one of the top academic performing teams in the NCAA year in and year out. And that's the first measure that we have is success for our program, is how we're achieving in the classroom. But our mission really is to be the top Nordic ski program in the NCAA, both in terms of how we're performing academically and athletically. And the last, I think, 4 years, we've been a top 10 team at NCAA championships. We're now three-peat NCAA Central Regional skiing champions. And that gives us, I think, that confidence and that pedigree that we can compete with the best programs in the country. And so we're not going to continue to let down our guard in trying to be the top team in the country. But I think at the same time, you got to take it one step at a time too, right? And sport is challenging, right? Especially an environmental sport like skiing, because you might have a really outstanding season, but maybe not an amazing NCAA championships, right? But I think what I'm excited about this year is the maturity of our squad. We've got a really strong returning men's team that has 3 NCAA championship competitors in Skylar Patton, Colin Freed, Trig Solberg. So they've got experience at those championship events that I think really helps you perform in that environment. And we've got a really strong women's team as well that's really hungry. to show that they are ready to compete with not only the Central region, but nationally as well. And then the other thing is that, last year, I guess, looking at comparison, last year we had our two bigger championship races, one at U.S. Nationals and then the other one at NCAA championships at high altitude, right? And for us as a sea-level program, that is pretty challenging because, you're dealing with acclimatization, you're dealing with different race environment. And this year we get to go to Alaska for the U.S. Nationals, which is obviously at sea level. And then we're racing the NCAA championships in Dartmouth in Hanover, New Hampshire, which is pretty close to sea level as well. So I don't think we're going to face some of those same challenges that we did face last year that makes it just really tough to perform in the championship environment. And so I think, we're bringing the maturity that I think and the experience that I think is going to really allow us to perform at our best in those championship races. And we've got a really great competition schedule at large that I think really sets our team up for success, not only at this championships, but through the season. We periodize our training throughout the year. But the way that periodization works is that you're trying to get stronger and stronger as an athlete and as a competitor. So you're developing different training capacities. And then through the competition season especially, you're trying to get just better at competing. So our goal for sure is to just continue to grow through the competition season and to get stronger through each competition. So I think that's what's really fun about these early season competitions is you get to learn a lot about what you really need to work on, because until you get to compete, it's hard to really evaluate that. You can evaluate it a bit in training with your interval training, things like that. But nothing's the same as putting on a race bib and actually going out there and competing and seeing where you stack up, right? Compared to your competitors. But the big thing for us is just continual growth through the season, staying healthy, really balancing our life as students and athletes really well. And then lastly is just like really having a fun team atmosphere, because what we've also really seen through our entire tenure at Michigan Tech is that our teams that had the most fun together have been the ones that have the most competitive success. It makes your experience really enjoyable when you're really able to be supportive as a teammate and feel like you have that support and really enjoy the competitive atmosphere. And so that's what we really also strive for in terms of the team environment, the competitive environment that we're really focusing on developing and creating, fostering as we get into the competition season as well. Our biggest goal for this weekend is just to really get excited about racing again. So we want the athletes to just be stoked about the opportunities to race again. That's going to motivate them for the season ahead, but then just to get a lot of things that they can learn from this competitive experience that's going to help them continue to grow and improve. And especially heading into cable, which is going to be really high level competition, and then U.S. Nationals after that. You want to kind of work out the cobwebs in these early season races, see where you're at, and then have an opportunity to evaluate what you really need to work on in training to help you get to that top end to where you're performing at your best in more of that championship race environment.